winter is coming. And I think we all know where that line is from. It's from one of the greatest shows of all time, Game of Thrones, and has one of my favorite storylines, which is the Night's Watch, where they're perpetually fighting against the evils of the world, living in the cold, being isolated from everybody, and are constantly pushing themselves to do the absolute best. The thing that I like about them that I think really resonates with a lot of men is that when it comes to winter, there's just something about living in the climate that pushes you, that demands you to do better, and then striving through it, coming out on top, and then knowing that you are capable of surviving said harshness. So, how are we gonna do it this year? Well, in this video, I have quite a few pieces of advice and challenges that I think are gonna help serve you this winter arc. So, without further ado, let's dive right into it. Now for starters, what is winter arc? Well, winter arc is basically what we're going to be doing for the next 90 days. It's a 90-day plan where essentially we're going to 10x our progress for this year and the upcoming year, okay? But right now, since it's fall, as you can see in the background right there, it's currently October as I am recording this, and we're gonna start preparing ourselves for winter arc, okay? And in doing so, the goal, again, is that we 10x our progress and come out on the other side stronger than ever. So what are we gonna do in these 90 days? It's going to be simple, but not easy. It's going to be kind of hard, but the hardest part is showing up every day, every single day that you possibly can, and killing it as much as you possibly can until you come out on the other side absolutely goated and stronger than you've ever been. Since we're working on fitness, since this is a fitness channel, we're mainly going to be focusing on the physical aspect, but we're going to add in a little bit of mental game in here as well, because I think the two go hand in hand. So for starters, what is the physical? Well, over the next 90 days, you're going to have to do quite a few things to ensure that you are at your physical peak. Now, the first is that every single day, to some extent, you are going to be active. You are going to weightlift, do calisthenics, and breath work. The rest of the week, we're going to be doing what's going to be a bit more passive, but we'll still get those reps in. So the first thing that you're going to be doing during that time is breathing exercises. Just like in Demon Slayer with meditation and total concentration breathing, you're going to be doing certain breathing exercises. The first one I suggest is box breathing. The second one is going to be holding your breath. The third is going to be Wim Hof breathing style. And the last is going to be deep nasal breaths. So that way you can ensure that you're getting as much oxygen as possible. And then if you also have it, I would also suggest doing resistance training with that. Use a breathing mask or a breath resistance trainer, whatever it's called. And then for another passive exercise, you're going to be going on a walk for about 30 minutes to an hour each day. I like to do this and not go on my phone for pretty much the entire walk because it helps clear your mind. And when you do that, you're going to feel a lot better and a lot more relaxed once you get those reps in. Another thing that you can also do is heat and cold exposure. Since it's winter, I like to do cold exposure because it helps me acclimate to the climate that's around us. So for example, you can do cold showers, you can go outside in something a bit lighter, kind of like what I'm wearing right now, and it kind of trips people out because they're like, why is this guy walking around with just a tank top and it's freezing outside? I live in SoCal, so it doesn't get freezing, but you get the idea. This is going to help train our nervous system so that we're used to a more tough environment. And that way, when we're outside and we're actually training, if you do train outside, especially if you do calisthenics outdoors, you're going to be used to it and it's not going to be as bad. Wim Hof breathing is really good for getting your body used to cold exposure as well. Next is that every day you are going to do some form of calisthenics. Calisthenics, because if it's not weighted calisthenics, you're just using your body to do it, and your body will give out before typically injuring itself. Meaning, if you were doing pull-ups, I don't think I've ever heard of a person tearing their bicep doing just regular pull-ups, right? But I have seen people do it when they're doing curls. And this is because you're using your own body weight. Your body is going to get acclimated to your own weight a lot easier than it is with extra weight added to it. So every single day, you're going to do at the very least 25 push-ups, 10 pull-ups, 25 squats, 25 sit-ups, and if you have the ability to do so, if you have a chair or a bench or whatever, do at least 25 dips. If you have a regular dip bar, then you're going to be doing 25 regular dips. You really want to 10x this progress. You're going to try and do anywhere between 25 to 100 throughout the entire day. This is going to make sure that your body gets used to pushing itself to its limits, especially if you're doing this with just as many reps as possible. You're doing as much volume as you possibly can till failure, because I know for a fact that's what's made my arms way more defined. My body's become unbelievably defined while doing this. Next is that you're also going to be doing a lot of weightlifting. We're doing powerlifting, so I like to do this. Make sure that you stay with the essentials: squat, bench, deadlift, and just push yourself. Don't push yourself too hard. You want to make sure you don't injure yourself, and you want to make sure that your nervous system gets used to this. This is why on my rest days, I like to do some type of physical activity without overdoing it, right? So do stretching, go for a walk, breath resistance training, or just breath training, or cold and heat exposure, so that way your body can at least stay somewhat active and it keeps you in a relatively high stimulus, I think that's the right term, while you're resting. Next is going to be that we are going to be bulking. At least this is my preference during winter. I like to think of it as me basically like a hibernating animal, like a bear, where you just pack on as much body weight as you possibly can. This is personal for me because I lose body weight a lot easier than I gain it. Now, the heaviest I've ever been is only about 193, I want to say, and that's really me pushing it. I think I've only been like 192, 193, something like that. Right now, I'm only about 170. So my goal is to just pack on as much weight as possible, because when I'm doing that, your body, think of it like this. You have only so much muscle and then so much fat covering that muscle, right? Now, when you put on fat, all of this is just stored energy. And when you're working out as hard as possible, your body has more energy to burn, so the muscle will start to catch up. And then basically when you lose that fat, your muscles seem like they're bigger than they were before, because they are, because again, they're using more energy. And your body fat percentage will also be lower in comparison. Because it's weird, Hamza talked about this before, but he said the heavier you are while staying lean, the more defined you're going to look. That's kind of the reason why my face is a lot slimmer compared to when I was 18 and I was actually like 30 or at least 20 pounds lighter. It's really weird how that works. Okay, so that's the next thing, is do some type of resistance training. Do it between 3 to 5 times a week, preferably every day to some extent. And make sure that you're eating, healthy. Make sure you're eating healthy. Drink about half a gallon to a gallon of water each day. Make sure that you have chia seeds. I haven't tried it yet, but I think it's called psyllium. Hold on. Psyllium husk. Yeah, try psyllium husk and add it to your water, because this will apparently clean you out pretty well. So again, give that a try. And I personally like to add bee pollen to my water because I think it really helps with my diet, and it helps me stay at a really good immunity level, which is also key during the winter, because when people are packed together, it's not really the cold exposure that makes you sick, it's more so the fact that people are all packed together when they're during the winter, because everybody's inside, everybody's all right next to each other trying to stay warm. So that's the real reason, at least from what I understand, why people tend to get sick during the winter. And lastly, you're going to be adding in as much as you possibly can. Keep a tracker on you. I got this one. I think I got this from I got this from Walmart when I was in South Carolina. for my powerlifting competition a few months ago. And you're going to be keeping track of your daily habits. Write down everything that you possibly can. Keep track of the weights, keep track of the reps. Make sure that you write out the next day, the night before, because when you do this, it's going to help take off that mental load, and you're just going to go through the day a lot easier. I know a lot of people like to have this cope of, well, but I want the day to be more adventurous or spontaneous. That's stupid. Don't listen to that part of your brain. It's going to lead you astray. I should know because I have done this before and it never led to anywhere good. So you want to make sure that you are writing down the day, the night before. Keep track of it. If you slip up here and there, then make sure that you write down as much as possible. Make sure that you have timetables for the day, and that will lead you to a lot of success. I almost forgot, there's actually one last thing that you're going to be doing every single day for a minimum of 1 minute. But no, let's actually go for 5 minutes. Okay, if you can't do this for 5 minutes, then you need to work on a lot more than just your physical. Okay, and it's that we are going to be meditating every single day for a little bit. Meditation comes in all forms. Okay, power napping, listening to an audiobook, sitting there just trying to go over your thoughts, visualizations, trying to clear your mind, using your imagination, or just counting down from 200 in threes. It's really weird. There's all types of meditation. It doesn't really matter what it is, but just make sure that you are doing some form of meditation every single day for the next 90 days. Okay, hopefully you potentially do this for the rest of your life, but while you're doing this winter arc challenge, you're going to want to meditate every single day. So that's it for today's video. This is my personal winter arc challenge, and I hope that you guys all stick to it. So that being said, make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.